Valante with the Social Life segment, and this is my response to the State of the Union address. I've watched the State of the Union every year since I was about 10 years old. And one time, a long time ago, a political science professor defined politics as manipulating the law to serve your own personal best interest. Since that time, I've come up with a definition of government, which is to interpret the law to serve the best interest of everyone. President Obama delivered a very politically correct address on last night. He covered all of his bases. He led in with education, then economics, energy, and foreign policy. He covered all the bases, but in order for us to bring it home and actually win, we all have to work together and put the action behind the words. He made a statement last night in his speech when he referenced the government shutdown. He said that the federal government failed, and the federal government has failed. Government failed. Politics succeeded. The result is an America that is losing. We are losing economically, we're losing educationally, and we're losing socially. As long as everyone thinks in terms of me, myself, and I, the nation as a whole will continue to fail. I can't say that I'm a Democratic supporter. I can't say that I'm a Republican supporter. I can't say that I'm an Obama supporter. I can't even say that I am an American supporter. I am a supporter of humanity. People. It's the people that matter. We, the people of the United States, in order to form a more perfect what? Union. That's what's missing. It's the union of the United States. And he also spoke about layoffs and offshore shipping and shipping jobs offshore. I can give you a very real example of how that destroys the economy. A few years back, I was working my dream job. The first day at this job, I said, I'm going to retire from here. This is a perfect fit. A few years into the job, I was doing a great job. My boss came to me and he goes, we want you to write this manual because you're going to train the entire operation in India to do what you do. And I went, oh, really? So I worked and I completed this manual and this whole training module to ship off to India. And I told my colleague who was working with me on the project, I said, you know that we're training them to replace us. And she goes, oh, no, we have tenure. They won't replace us. I said, okay. So I started to prepare myself because I knew that the layoff was coming, and sure enough, it did. I don't have to explain to you the impact of a layoff to my own personal economic situation. But here's the thing. When I was working, I was spending a ton of money just commuting from the suburbs downtown. I was spending money on clothes. I was spending money on food. I was spending a fortune on childcare for my daughter. I was spending so much money. I was making a lot of money and I was spending a lot of money. When I got laid off, I didn't need as many clothes. I didn't have to pay to commute. I cooked every day. I do my own hair and makeup. And I started to spend significantly less money. So my personal contribution to the American economy was cut to a fraction of what I was spending. That was tens of thousands of dollars lost a year in my own personal spending. Now multiply that by the thousands of people, the millions of people who have been laid off in the United States. What do you think that does to the economy? The mastermind who figured out that by laying off people, it would reduce operating costs, never counted on the fact that when you unemploy the middle class, the people who are spending all of the money, yeah, you cut your operating costs, but you also cut your revenue because the people who were spending the money no longer have it. That's what I'm talking about when I say think in terms of community. You can't make decisions that impact only you for right now. Because what you do to the other people in your community at some point is going to come back to affect you. And if you think ahead and if you think in terms of government and not politics, what the result that comes back to you will be positive and not negative, and you will start to win and stop losing. The president delivered a speech that was approximately an hour and 5 minutes long to give us the State of the Union. I can sum up the State of the Union in one word: gridlocked. We are gridlocked. We're stuck. Nothing is going to change until we start to think in terms of one nation, under God, indivisible. Right now, the United States is a very individualistic society. Everybody is scuffling for themselves and against each other. Whether it's race, whether it's sex, whether it's religion, whatever it is, nothing is worth what it is doing to our nation. The State of the Union, we have one of the greatest lands in terms of opportunity and resources. And we are squandering them in what I like to call a Cold War, a civil Cold War. We are in a state of a civil Cold War. Cold War. And until we fix that, until we warm up the environment, warm up to each other, take the effort to find out what the next person's needs are, and then interact with that person and see how we can work together to meet all of our needs. That's when the State of the Union will improve. I heard a lot of talk last night about what you didn't do right, what didn't work for you. But I didn't hear a lot about how we can work together to make it better. And that's what I like to see. Us working together to make the United States of America a great nation. And that's my response to the State of the Union.